When I was 16, my older sister stabbed me in the stomach with a kitchen knife. I still remember the cold shock of the blade, the weight of her body pinning me to the ground, and how her face wasn't even angry, just blank, like she was shutting off some part of herself. She was 19, 3 years older, smarter, prettier, more loved, always more loved. It happened in our parents' kitchen. I had just come back from school, dropped my bag near the door, and walked into the kitchen to grab a snack. I saw her standing there, cutting something, and I asked her if Mom was home. That's literally all I said. She turned to me, knife still in her hand, and just lunged. There wasn't a fight. I didn't provoke her. I wasn't even close enough to touch her. She stabbed me once. Deep. Right under the rib cage. I collapsed in total shock. She just stood there staring while I bled onto the tile. And when our parents got home, when I was already in the ER, stitched and pale and terrified, they told the doctors I had slipped and fallen onto a knife. I remember lying in that hospital bed and hearing my mom's voice in the hallway, saying things like, "She's always been dramatic," and "We can't let people think our family is violent." Nobody asked me what happened. Not the nurses. Not the cops. And definitely not my parents. When I confronted them a few days later, still in pain, my dad snapped at me. "Why would you make your sister out to be some monster?" he hissed. "Do you know what that would do to her future? She stabbed me. You probably scared her. You're always poking at her, starting fights. What did you say to her this time?" They grounded me. In the hospital, they said I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone about it. That I was selfish, attention-seeking, and trying to destroy the family. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just shut down. 2 weeks later, when I was well enough to walk, I packed a backpack and left. No note. No calls. Nothing. I stayed with a friend for a few weeks until their parents found out. Then I went couch to couch. Eventually, a local shelter helped me get into a transitional housing program for youth. It was hell, but at least I wasn't living with people who made me feel crazy for bleeding out on the floor. I changed my number. I legally emancipated myself at 17. Got a job at a gas station, then another one at a diner. I hustled through high school, got my diploma, and never looked back. For years, I had nightmares about my sister's face. That blank stare. The way my parents huddled around her in the hospital, while I bled alone behind a curtain. I didn't go to college, but I worked hard. I built a small but quiet life. I started therapy. I stopped hoping they'd call. It hurt at first. Then it didn't. Then it became normal. But last month, after 8 years of silence, I got a message from an unknown number. It said, "You've punished us long enough. We've forgiven you for what happened. But people are starting to talk, and you need to apologize. It's not just about you anymore." My hands shook when I read it. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours. The number was local. I knew it had to be my parents. Forgiven me? I thought it had to be a joke. But then more messages came. First from my mom. Then my dad. Then her. My sister. Each one worse than the last. My mom said, "Your little tantrum made us look like monsters. You've embarrassed us for years. People ask why you disappeared. Why we don't talk. We've covered for you. But we're tired." My dad said, "We're willing to let bygones be bygones. But you need to show some respect. We won't tolerate another smear campaign." And my sister? Hers was one line. "You always were the problem." I thought I was over this. I thought I had moved on. But suddenly, I couldn't sleep again. The nightmares came back. The image of that knife. My own blood soaking through my shirt. Her expressionless face. And now they want me to say sorry. I didn't answer right away. I wanted to pretend none of it mattered. That I was too strong for this now. But then I made the mistake of clicking on her social media profile. My sister. The same girl who stabbed me when I was 16. She was now a therapist. A licensed counselor. Helping others heal. Her profile was full of posts about mental health, toxic families, survivor journeys, and sisterhood. Thousands of followers. Dozens of comments calling her brave and inspiring. I felt like I was losing my mind. But it got worse. In one of her newest videos, she talks about growing up with a violent sibling who ran away and left a wake of destruction. She was talking about me. And the worst part? People believed her. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe I just snapped. But that night, I sent her a message. It said, "You remember what you did? I still have the scar. If you want to talk about trauma, let's talk." She didn't reply. But the next morning, I woke up to an email from her lawyer. Now she wants a restraining order. This is far from over. I didn't even know where to start. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the email from her lawyer, rereading every word. Cease all communication with my client effective immediately. Ongoing harassment. Defamatory claims. It felt like a twisted joke. Like I was being gaslit on a national level. The girl who stabbed me was now playing victim, and doing it so convincingly, she had people praising her for it. The lawyer's email was cold, formal, and full of carefully chosen words that painted me as the unhinged one. It warned that any further contact would be considered harassment and could result in legal escalation. I hadn't even told anyone what happened back then. Not publicly. Not even online. I never named her. Never posted about it. I carried that secret like a rotten stone in my stomach for 8 years. But now? Now she was turning it around. Rewriting history. And my parents were helping her do it. I couldn't stop thinking about how they'd message me after all these years, not to apologize, not to ask what happened, not to own up to the way they left me for dead, but to demand my apology. Like I was the one who ruined their reputation. I spent that whole day shaking, pacing my apartment. I didn't go to work. I didn't answer my phone. I just spiraled. Every minute, more pieces of that night came back. The sound of the knife clattering to the floor. The way my mom screamed at me when she saw the blood, not at her. You scared her. You're always provoking her. What did you do? Back then, I believed them. I honestly thought maybe I did do something wrong. Maybe I was the problem. That was the part that hurt the most, how quickly I internalized it. But not anymore. By evening, I was staring at her profile again, scrolling through her fake self-help videos and empowerment quotes. And something inside me finally snapped. I took a photo of the scar. It's still there. Faint, but visible. A long, pale line just under my ribs. I took the picture in natural light. No edits. No filters. Then I wrote one sentence. She stabbed me. I was 16. I ran away because no one protected me. Here's the scar. I didn't tag her. I didn't name her. I didn't mention my parents. I just posted it anonymously in a survivors forum that I used to read when I was younger. Somewhere quiet. Not public. Just to see what would happen. Within an hour, people were commenting. You're not alone. This happened to me too. I'm so sorry they failed you. I hadn't expected it to go viral. But it did. Someone took a screenshot. Then someone else shared it to Twitter. Then Instagram. Within 24 hours, it was everywhere. The scar. The sentence. The story. People began asking, who is she talking about? And someone, somewhere, must have connected the dots because suddenly her name started popping up in the replies. Then the real chaos began. Screenshots of her old social media posts were circulating. Videos of her talking about her trauma, contradictions, timeline inconsistencies. Someone even found a post where she mentioned helping her sister through mental health issues before she disappeared, trying to paint herself as a caregiver. The more she tried to explain it, the worse it looked. And then, my mom called me. She hadn't called in years. I didn't even know how she got my number. The voicemail she left was venomous. This is all your fault. Your sister's practice is under review. Her clients are dropping her. You've ruined her life. Are you happy now? She didn't ask if I was okay. She didn't mention the scar. She didn't even say my name. Just blamed me. Again. But this time, I saved the message. And I posted it. I blurred her name. Her voice. I still didn't say who I was. But the world was paying attention now. And they were starting to ask real questions. That night, I got a DM from someone I never expected to hear from. A girl named Marissa. I didn't recognize the name at first, but then she said. She was my therapist, and she scared me. She told me I reminded her of her sister, and sometimes she got this look in her eyes, like she wanted to hurt me. That message made me feel cold all over. How many others were there? I replied, carefully. We talked. She wasn't the only one. 3 others messaged me over the next few days, all former clients of my sister. All of them with stories of manipulation, inappropriate comments, or strange behavior that blurred the lines between therapy and personal vendetta. I had a choice to make. I could keep hiding, stay anonymous, let the truth leak slowly, or I could speak up, really speak up, and tell the full story. The real one. From the start. My name. Her name. The night in the kitchen. The scar. The silence. The cover-up. The 8 years of exile. The messages that started it all. If I did it, there'd be no going back. No anonymity. No protection. I'd be facing not just my sister, but my parents, their lawyers, and their lies. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid. Because maybe, just maybe, this time, people would believe me. I made the decision at 3 a.m., sitting alone on the edge of my bed, staring at the ceiling. I was tired of hiding, tired of protecting people who had left me bleeding on a tile floor. So I told the truth. I recorded a video. Nothing fancy, no makeup, no dramatic music, just me and the raw, unfiltered version of what had haunted me for almost a decade. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just told the story. My name is Olivia, I said. When I was 16, my sister stabbed me in the stomach with a kitchen knife. I was hospitalized. But my parents told the doctors it was an accident. They blamed me. They said I provoked her. They grounded me while I was still in the hospital. 2 weeks later, I ran away. I paused. Let it sink in. She's now a licensed therapist with thousands of followers, claiming I was the violent one who traumatized her. And my parents, they're demanding I apologize. Not for what I did, but for what I made them look like. I showed the scar. I played the voicemail from my mom. I ended with one line. I've been silent for 8 years. No more. I posted the video on TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. I didn't expect it to blow up, but it did. By noon the next day, it had 1 million views. Within 48 hours, it was 5 million. My inbox exploded with messages. Survivors. Supporters. Journalists. A few trolls, sure, but for the first time, I wasn't alone. Someone started a thread on Twitter compiling all of my sister's old posts, comparing them to what I said in my video. People dug up inconsistencies. Her old classmates started sharing stories, some small, some chilling. A pattern started forming. Then a local news outlet picked it up. And suddenly, the story was everywhere. The therapist with the dark secret. The sister who broke the silence. The family who protected the wrong daughter. My sister shut down her social media within 24 hours. Her practice was temporarily suspended pending review, according to a public statement. She released a carefully worded response that avoided directly addressing me, but insisted she was the victim of a coordinated smear campaign led by someone with untreated mental illness. I laughed when I read that. Because for years, they made me think I was crazy. And now the world could see what they did and how deep the lies ran. But just when I thought it was finally turning in my favor, they showed up at my door. My parents. I hadn't seen them in person in 8 years. I opened the door and there they were, standing on the porch like ghosts. My mom looked thinner. My dad older. But their faces were exactly the same, cold, angry, disappointed. They didn't say hi. My dad stepped forward. We need to talk. Inside. I didn't move. You're destroying your sister's life, he said. And for what? Old wounds? A teenage fight? My mom cut in. You're being vindictive, Olivia. You're not thinking clearly. You always did exaggerate things. That word again. Exaggerate. I kept the door half open, half closed. Like a barrier. My body tensed up on instinct, like it always did around them. She stabbed me, I said. I almost died. She was going through a lot. My mom snapped, her voice cracking. We were all under stress. My dad nodded. She's apologized. No, she hasn't. There was a long silence. Then my mom tried a different tactic. She's going to lose everything. Her license, her reputation. You made your point. Isn't that enough? I felt something break in me. You weren't there, I said slowly. You were never there. I was bleeding on the floor, and you protected her. I left because none of you cared. And now you care, because you're embarrassed. We are your parents, my dad growled. And we've protected this family name for decades. I laughed, bitter and low. This isn't about protecting the family. This is about protecting her. It always was. Then I looked my mother in the eyes. She could have killed me. And you told everyone I slipped. They didn't say another word. Just stared at me. Like I was the villain in their story. Then my dad muttered, "This is what you want? To destroy us?" I shook my head. I just want the truth out. And I shut the door. I collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Not because I was sad, but because I was angry. Relieved. Grieving a version of them I finally knew never existed. But it wasn't over. The video had gone global. And with visibility came danger. A week later, I came home to find my apartment door pried open. Nothing was stolen. But someone had gone through my things. My journals were on the floor. My birth certificate was torn. A note was left on my pillow. It said, "If you don't stop, next time it won't just be a warning." I stared at the note in my hand. my heart beating so fast it felt like my ribs were shaking. It was written in thick black marker. No signature. No clue who had been inside. I checked every drawer, every cabinet, every closet. Nothing was missing, but everything had been touched, opened, moved, violated. My skin crawled just knowing someone had been in here while I was gone, touching my things, reading my journals, leaving that threat. I called the police. They came, asked questions, looked around, and nodded sympathetically. But I could tell they didn't take it seriously. No cameras in the hallway, no fingerprints on the note. Just another she said case. I asked them if I could file a restraining order. They said unless I could prove who left the note, there wasn't much they could do. I knew who did it, even if I didn't have evidence. No one else hated me enough or wanted me silent badly enough to do this. Not long after, my friend Marissa, the one who'd messaged me about her experience with my sister, texted me in a panic. Someone had tried to contact her old employer, claiming she was unstable and connected to an online harassment campaign. I knew immediately what was happening. My sister, or someone helping her, was retaliating. She was unraveling, and she was pulling everyone down with her. For a moment, I wanted to give up. Delete everything. Shut it down. The thought of going through it all again, courts, statements, the media circus, it exhausted me. But then I remembered the scar. The years of silence. And that night, I lay bleeding on the floor while my parents stood by her side. No, I wasn't shutting up. Instead, I made a second video. I recorded it right in front of the broken lock on my door. This is what happens when you speak the truth, I said. Someone broke into my apartment, left a threat, went through my journals, tried to scare me into silence. Then I showed the note. And here's what I want them to know. I'm not afraid of you anymore. That video went even more viral than the first. Comments flooded in. Offers of legal help. Other women, even former co-workers of my sister, started speaking up. Quietly at first, then more boldly. Turns out, she had a pattern. Manipulating stories. Twisting narratives. Playing the victim. Making others feel crazy so she could feel powerful. And all of it was falling apart. Eventually, an investigative podcast reached out and offered me the chance to tell the whole story, start to finish. I said yes. I sat in a quiet studio with a mic in front of me, and for the first time in my life, I told everything. No edits. No scripts. Just the raw truth of what it's like to be hurt, silenced, and then blamed by your own family. The episode blew up. A week later, I got an email from the licensing board. Her credentials had officially been suspended, pending a full investigation. It wasn't justice. Not yet. But it was a start. As for my parents, they tried again. One more message, after everything. This time from my dad. You humiliated us. We'll never forgive you. We hope you're happy. And I finally replied. I am. For the first time in my life. I don't know what the future holds. I still check my locks 3 times before bed. I still keep my phone on loud at night. The fear doesn't vanish overnight. But I don't feel powerless anymore. Because now the world knows the truth. And I'm done apologizing for surviving.